Hi, everyone. Clay with Claiborne Education, Claiborne LSAT here with an LSAT Logic Games setup video. We're going to go pretty far back into the past, all the way back to Prep Test 18, the December 1992 LSAT. And respecting LSAT's copyright, I'm not going to read out the entire game and prompt and rules for you. So you need to have that in front of you. But as I start to set it up for our 6 spaces here, you want to keep in mind that the reason we have 6 spaces is that even though there are only 3 courses, there are 2 installments of each course, 2 semesters, you might say, the fall and the spring. So that's really 6 separate elements or players, as we like to say, that we need to deal with. So let's go ahead and write this out. Very imperfect drawing system. I trust you'll pardon that. We have the 3 courses, and we learned that we have kind of some block arrangements pretty early on. If you've seen any other of our videos, you'll know that blocks are the single best kind of rule that you can have. 2 players essentially tied together, 2 elements linked together, in the case of sequencing, right next to one another. And this, of course, is a strict sequencing game. We find out that folder 1 and 2 have the same subject. So that's going to be very helpful because there are only 3 subjects, M, N, and O, and then fall and spring for each. So when we consider what the options are, we could really only have 3 options there, MM or NN or OO. But then we find out more that as you look at 2 later rules, we discover that either fall mathematics or spring oceanography has to be the one that's in folder number 1. So we're just going to toggle those 2 things and say, all right, what if it is fall mathematics? We'll call it the course, and then we'll label it with a subscript F for fall. And then we can infer that that means number 2 has to be spring mathematics because those 2 have to be the same. And then by elimination of the either or possibilities, the other possibility here has to be spring oceanography, which is in either folder 1 or 4. Now we know that spring nutrition is not in number 5. So we can knock that out. That leaves only 2 places for spring nutrition. We also know, however, that folders 3 and 4 are different subjects. So that's going to help us quite a bit here. Math is done. We've already included the 2 maths that are possible. Number 3 can't be oceanography. The only thing left is nutrition. We know for sure in this case that number 3 is nutrition. The only question is it fall or spring? Well, when we have that kind of either or, again, here's that crucial moment with this decision tree thought process where you don't just settle for, well, that's an either or. No, you go in and you draw out both of the possibilities. You say, all right, let's suppose that it's fall nutrition, and then we'll go back and do another game board in which it's spring. Well, if it's fall nutrition, that's really nice because spring nutrition then would have to be number 6. By elimination, we've got fall oceanography, and we're done with game board number 1. We'll quickly just write out the same thing. You can even just draw like a down arrow or like a little quotation mark, meaning repeat if you want. You don't even have to recopy the things that are true once again in spots 1, 2, and 4, but I'm going to write them out so you can see them here. And remember, we were toggling the idea that, okay, fall nutrition in number 3, the only other option is spring nutrition. That leaves a little bit less certainty. Number 5 can't be spring nutrition, but that's done, that's taken. So we're left with fall nutrition or fall oceanography. So we'll want to just include a handle there and say those are the only 2 that are left, but there's no remaining restrictions that bind them in either way. So we're just going to leave it like that. Now, remember that our main kind of branch of the decision tree thought process was what's happening in spot number 1 and therefore spot number 2. We said spot number 1 could be fall mathematics. The other option is that it's spring oceanography. Wrote the wrong letter there for the main letter. I want that to be an O and the spring to be the label for it. So let's say it's spring oceanography now, which means number 2 has to be fall oceanography. And number 4 is the only other place where fall math can go. So we'll put that in. We're now in a similar position with number 3, where once again, it has to be nutrition. Nice little inference there that number 3 is always nutrition, whether spring or fall, we don't know, but that's a nice inference we can take away from this. Oceanography is already done. 3 can't be the same as 4, so it has to be nutrition. And we're just going to toggle the exact same 2 options we did last time. What if it's fall, which forces everyone into position since spring nutrition can't be in 5? Or what if it's spring? And again, you can use a down arrow or just the sort of ditto symbol. But for clarity, I'll go ahead and write out everything we had in game board number 3 is then copied in game board number 4, spots 1, 2, and 4, leaving only once again our remaining players, which in this case would be spring mathematics. We haven't accounted for that yet. And what else do we have? Fall nutrition. All right, and that actually points me to an error. And I'm not going to fix that in the video because I just want to show you that sometimes you make an error along the way, and continuing the process can help reveal that error. I just realized in putting spring mathematics that I actually did fall oceanography twice in game board number 3. I was thinking about what was happening in the first 2 game boards, neglecting the fact that fall oceanography was already taken. The remaining one that has to fill spot number 5 here is spring mathematics, with spring nutrition having to be in number 6. So we'll fix that one. And then we'll add number 4. Notice the nice even divide here. We tried fall mathematics in number 1. That gave us basically 2 choices, one of them with a handle. The only other option was spring oceanography in number 1. That also, in a very symmetric way, gave us 2 choices, one of them with a handle. As I mentioned, number 3 always ends up being nutrition, but you kind of have to draw this out to really infer that. We are in outstanding shape to go into the questions. We don't need any more examples because we've covered the either or for spot number 1 and played it out to the full extent of its possibilities. There's truly nothing else to do here. We have an outstanding setup for game from prep test 18, the second game. Go ahead and try the questions yourself. You'll be in fantastic position taking in these game boards. That is a great high yield example of a logic game. And I hope this setup has showed you once again how powerful this method is to setting up the game boards in advance so that the questions just kind of fall like dominoes. I hope this video has been helpful to you. Continue tuning in for more and let Claiborne know if we can help you think about your LSAT preparation.